So let's jump right into Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Mandalorian.
Which I just finished watching 15 minutes ago. So yes.
Thoughts, Cameron?
I mean, I loved it. I mean, I was having a great time. I laughed a lot. Grogu was particularly endearing. I thought. I mean, I don't know how deep you want to go to spoilers. It's been out for a day now, and so, but there's fun pirates and all this stuff. I mean, it felt, again, it just felt like Star Wars to me. That's all I want. My view is very simple. Anything that is made after George Lucas sold Star Wars to Disney is fan fiction. Some of it is very good fan fiction. I think Rogue One personally is really good fan fiction, right? I think other stuff that's been made is not good fan fiction. I think The Mandalorian has largely been extremely good fan fiction, and I'm really liking this season beginning. Again, I just want to play with these toys, just like we played with these toys as children. And I get the vibe that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are just playing with these toys like we were playing with them. I made lots of stories as a kid, my own version of events with Luke Skywalker and Han, with my little action figures and whatever. And that's what I feel like I'm watching here. I feel like people playing with the toys, and I'm liking what they're doing with it. So I had a great time.
I gotta say that one of the things I did like. We can go spoilers, I think, at this point. So if you don't want to hear spoilers for Mandalorian, you guys plug your ears. But one of my favorite parts, and it was a small part of the episode, was definitely a Charles Vane reference for the pirate, right? That had to be a Charles Vane reference. And
the Pirates had that old, they had that vibe of Pirates of the Caribbean, like using that old timey language and whatever.
It almost looked like them too. They had like the second, what is the one, Dead Man's Chest? They had that look too with some of the Davy Jones people.
Yeah.
What'd you think, Scott?
It was another I'm not a big fan. I'm not a fan at all, actually. And it's personal. It's more I just Pedro Pascal bothers me. But I did watch it. I enjoyed that first scene. I thought it was cool how they made. I felt like it was him being brought into the cult, because to me they're a cult. A lot of religious undertones, the water in the water baptism type thing. But I did enjoy that, because I thought that was him as a young boy being, brought into the cult. But it wasn't. He actually, the guy who's kicked out of their cult because he took off his mask was the one that saved them, which is kind of a, you could see how they were disgusted by that. So I thought that was kind of cool. I did like how the boy never finished the "I won't take my helmet off" part. So I almost felt like that meant something. The pirates are great. It's cool how you see the growth of that city over the seasons.
Yeah.
Actually, God damn it, now that I'm talking about it, I've actually enjoyed it more than I thought.
You got to pull it out, man.
Which is weird.
You treated it as just kids playing with toys.
Yeah.
Was this a fun toy story? That's how I treat it.
I mean, we're all saying that it's a good way of okay, let me put it this way. I've taken myself out of my heart with Star Wars, and I just see it as science fiction. And if it's that to me now and no longer my Star Wars, I actually enjoyed it.
But no one's going to take your Star Wars away from you.
No, my Star Wars is years ago.
Whatever aspects of you that you consider your Star Wars,
yeah.
Some people think it's only 4, 5, and 6. For me, I'm good with anything Lucas did, right?
Yeah, of course.
But, no one's going to ever take that away from you. That will always be for you.
Right. I enjoyed it. Definitely. This episode was better than anything I saw last year, because I was not a fan of last season. I feel like maybe I did like they address Cara Dune. She's like special ops now. But
which might or may not, we'll find this out, may or may not be setting up something.
Right. Ooh. Right. I'm hoping it's setting up something.
Yes.
Did they recast Gina?
I don't think they've done that. No,
I'm fearful they will, though. That's my please don't.
So shall we delve into it? So we had an interview this week where some journalists asked Dave Filoni, so are you going to bring her back? And he's very much a company man politician, right? And so he answered it in a company man politician way, which is there's so many characters we love to play with and blah blah blah. And he didn't answer the question, which is a very political answer. But in and of itself, that says something. It means that the status is undetermined, right? Which I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
I've always believed that the opportunity for Gina to return will be presented to her whenever. I mean, I know some people say Kathleen Kennedy is never going to leave. She's Nosferatu. She will live forever. She's immortal. In 2773, she'll still be running Lucasfilm, but eventually she's not going to be there. So I believe at that point, they will offer it to her. Whether Gina chooses to come back, she's got a successful life and career now.
That was above them, right? That was above Dave Filoni. That was above Favreau. That was a Kennedy and Disney execs decision. So, I mean, I think she would work with them again. I mean,
she likes them. I don't think she has any problem with them.
Yeah.
And so, but I mean, again, she was very poorly treated. However, what's interesting is the trades, how they presented that interview. The trades are propaganda. I know, I work in Hollywood. Trades are propaganda of the system, right? And for the first time, they actually tried to do a balanced portrayal of her. Before, in the past, the trades would call her, she's an anti-Semite because she made a reference to the Holocaust and blah, 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 blah. And she compared people being, a lot of the things that were happening in the lockdowns, which weren't pleasant. She compared those to a lot of things that were happening in Eastern Europe in the 1930s that weren't pleasant, right? And so the trades uniformly condemned her because that's a red line in the industry, right? Yeah. That's just a red line in the industry. But for the first time in this response, the trade reporters went along pointing out that the world has changed and we were at a very intense place in those days. For the trades to start using that language,
that's big though. That's a narrative shift there.
The narrative shift. They're being fed, and the trades are being told what to say. Right. Yeah. And so they're being told by their editors where things are, where the pulse is of the studios, who's who they serve. And so the fact that they would even talk about, things were pretty intense back then. Right.
Wow.
First time they've ever suggested that maybe things might be different now. It's an implication.
Well, I mean, you think about it. She never bent the knee. She never, stopped believing in who she was. And I think even people that were like in the middle kind of respected that about her. You know what I mean? Like they respected that. Okay, she never changed her story. She wasn't a political person. She just felt, those few memes or pictures that she retweeted meant something to her, and people just assumed what that was. And I just hope that was a tense time. Everybody was crazy. Everybody. Yeah. And I'm just hoping that's a beautiful sign that maybe we're moving on and beyond that. And let's look at people for the character of who they are, not what they tweeted 2 years ago.
So on that point, I said something before we went live. I said I saw something in the episode that I don't think others saw, and maybe I missaw it. So people can obviously go back and watch it right now. We're doing this and write in the chat. No, Cameron, you didn't see it correctly. But I think I saw, because I always watch the opening credit moments and the things, and start off with Darth Vader and the different droids and whatever, and I didn't see Kylo Ren for the first time in that sequence.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to watch it right now.
I look for it every time because I'd always thought that the moment there's a shift internally of power, you won't see Kylo Ren in that.
Wow.
Kylo Ren, because I always look for it. And I was like, oh, there's Kylo Ren again. There's Kylo Ren. It's like Good Will Hunting. Ben Affleck keeps showing up at the door thinking, he's home, right? So one day he shows up and, Matt Damon doesn't answer the door, and we're in a new world, right? And so I was like, "There's no Kylo Ren. There's no Kylo Ren." Maybe I, and forgive me, I may have just not seen it flash by. So if anyone saw it, and maybe you can even screenshot it and send us a screenshot of that.
Yeah,
there's the Kylo Ren right there. I was like, okay, I'm wrong, but if I'm right, that is an intentional edit to the opening sequences they've used for 3 years. That's a choice. It suggests that whoever. If that is right, then they don't feel afraid internally to do it. They don't feel afraid of upsetting certain people anymore.
So I guess the question then, if that's the case, then who was Kylo Ren's darling?
Well, I mean, we know it's Miss Kennedy. I mean, that was her. All those were her babies, right? Kylo Ren, Daisy Ridley's character, all that. And if
I didn't see him,
he's not there.
He's not there, and they did it in a tricky way.
He's not there.
No, they did it in a tricky way too.
That's Cameron.
So they go Darth Vader, they go R2D2. The next one's a little confusing to me because it went by quick, but then they do like a stormtrooper, and then they kind of start going with just the Mandalorian characters, but Kylo Ren is out. They did not have him in that. Wow, what a great catch,
every
man.
One of those.
That's crazy.
I look for it because, again, being in Hollywood, I know that because I've worked on shows where you have to pay somebody to create those opening sequences.
Yeah.
I have as a producer on shows, I'm presented. Here's this opening sequence.
Right.
You like this one? You like that one? You want to edit this one? I've been in those rooms where you deal with opening sequences. To change an opening sequence is money.
Yep.
It requires choices and money. Someone has to approve it, right? And to edit it requires authorizations, especially one that's consistently been used for 3 years.
Yep.
It's not there. I think
That's
really
big.
want to notice it.
Credits to Roman, you caught it early too. So there you go. Someone in our chat had it as well. The Mando characters too.
That's a change, and that's a change that shows that Jon Favreau is not afraid of saying to Ms. Kennedy, "I'm not going to include your character in this anymore. I don't need it anymore."